Alright, so let's talk about these garage doors here. Garage doors tend to be about 9 feet wide, so we're going to do this. We're going to draw a line that is 9 feet long. 9 foot. Alright, and then what we're going to do is this, is we're going to move it from there to that midpoint. Now we know it's there. See how it's there? We're going to click move again, and let's move it in about 2 inches. Alright, so that's what a garage door is. They're actually a little bit longer than that, but to make this correct, what we want to do, this is just a representation of it. Shift right click, draw a line from there, shift right click to that perpendicular, draw a line right here, line from that endpoint to the shift right click perpendicular, and how did that work out? That line is not right there on that. So I'm going to move this line right now. This belongs up there. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we'll click trim. We'll use this as a cutting edge and this as a cutting edge, and we're going to trim out that and that. Alright, we'll trim that. So we're back to that being out this way. Now this isn't supposed to go back that far, so we'll move this back down to here, and we're going to move this one back down to here. Now, even though the width is 9 foot, which is a standard, we're going to click on this. We're going to move that out this way. We're going to go 2 inches beyond that, because your garage door would have to seal, and 2 inches beyond that. And that's how you do the representation for a garage door on this case. So now we're ready to start putting windows in. But before we do that, let's go up here. Let's go ahead and click save. So we should save every 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe save between videos, or should have saved between videos. But let's go here. So when we look in this part right here, there's 3 windows right there. So there's like a 2-inch gap, and then 3 windows fit in there. There's 3 windows in here. There's smaller windows. There's 1 here, 1 there, 2 there, 1 there, 1 there, 2 there. No windows in the garage. So let's go here. We'll start with these 3 windows. Windows are relatively easy in here. So let's go. We'll go up here and put a window in. And we're just going to use this window for our simple purpose of getting this stuff in. So the windows come in and they're automatically set for 4-inch window walls, but we want to go ahead and make them for 6-inch walls. Now to divide this space up in here, we want to divide that up 3 ways. So let's see, we can go as wide as windows that are 5 foot wide, but a 3 foot window is probably fair to start off with. So let's see if we can squeeze a couple of them in here. So if we click copy, and let's say here, there's 1 window, there's another window, there's another window. So there's 3 windows right in there that show what we want to do in here. Now this one had to have smaller windows in it. So so if we just click, let's try this. If we click copy, and there was 3 windows over there, and if we copy and come over here to this corner right there, that fits in there without any gap at all. Oops, looks like we're supposed to trim that. So I'll use that as a cutting edge, and this is a cutting edge, and we're going to get rid of that little piece there. Let's look at, see what the distance is here. This would be windows all across that wall, which may be really neat if you're in there. So we'll type in DI, see what the distance is from here to here, 4 inches. So that'll work out perfect if we move these over 2 inches this way. That works out perfect right along that whole wall's all windows right there. So you got 3 windows here and 3 windows there, which is really cool. Let's see what happens if we look at this. It doesn't look like it goes quite that far because they're really close right in here. But the weird part is right in there, you can't have a window that goes into the middle of the wall there. So it technically has got to start out here. There's got to be some kind of gap. 3 windows there in this one. So there's 1, 2, and 3 right here. So we'll go here, and we're going to try this. We're just going to see if this works. May not work. We're going to click mirror and do a window around those right there. We'll click that right there. Right click and enter. So now we've got 3 identical windows on that side. So that might be really neat to look at all those windows, get lots of light coming in the front of that house there, and they're centered on there. In that part right there, this should make it look pretty decent from the front. We might want to do an elevation later on. I'm going to go ahead and click save again. So I've got a bunch of those windows in. Now let's look at the windows. There's 1 window here, 7 foot from there and 7 foot from the back wall. So we'll go in here and let's go offset 7 foot. Oops, not 7 inches. 7 foot. And so the middle of that window is going to be right there. Alright, so I'll click on window, come in here, and I'm just going to drop it in here for right now. I'm going to click rotate. I'm going to rotate this window this way, and let's stick with the 3-foot window. And we're going to go ahead and make it so it goes out to a 6-inch wall. Alright, so now I'll move this so it goes from that midpoint to that intersection right there. So now it's lined up the right way. So now when I click move again, I'll move it using that endpoint, shift right click, and I'm going to go to the perpendicular right here. So that one's lined up the way I want it to be. Where this one gets a little bit easier is when I do the offset this time. It's already set to 7 foot. So I'll right click and enter and then click this. So that's where that one's going to go. I can pretty much copy this one, copy this window because I want it to be identical. Say I go from this intersection here to this intersection right here. Now that window's in the right spot. So I got those windows in place. There's 2 windows on the back here, and they're centered in that 3'4" off of that wall. So we'll go back here, and off of this wall we'll offset 3'4" and there's what that is. So now when we put in a window, there's 2 windows. Let's do this. Let's copy. We'll copy these 2 windows because they're the right width. And since we know they're centered, we'll use that center point right there and put those right here. Now, that obviously doesn't work because that window goes into that corner, and we need to have a minimum of 2 inches from right here. So let's click on this one. We're going to grab that, and we're going to, wait a minute, that should work. Oh, here's the one. Let's go back to 2 foot 6 inches. So that's that one. We'll grab this one. We'll do the same. We'll go back 2 foot 6 inches. There. You know what? I'm going to delete that one just because I want to do a mirror. This one right here and come down like that. And look at that. Works out perfect right there. So we got that one work in there. I think there's one window, big wide window, 2'5" from the center of that wall over. So we'll go over here and we'll offset 2 foot 5 inches from here to here. I actually don't like that because it's not going to be centered in between there. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to try this instead. We're going to move this from that intersection to the midpoint of that line. So now we've got that centered. And I might do something like, let's say do we want a small window? Let's go with that same window on the back here. So we'll copy this window from this midpoint to the perpendicular right here. Shift right click perpendicular. And that puts that right in the middle there. So that's a nice window. Not too wide, but we could make it wider if we wanted, but that's wide enough in there. So let's see, what else do we want to add? There's a window directly behind the sink here, and that sink is at 7'4" inches. Now we might have to make some adjustments, but that's okay. So, or it's from 8'6" from there. So let's go back here, and we're going to offset this one 8'6" inches. Go over this way. So that's where the center of this should be. So to make this really simple, we're just going to click on, we could click move. We'll do a window around that right there. We're going to click the midpoint of this, and we're going to come right over here to that. So now that's centered where we want it to be. We're going to copy one of these 3-foot windows here. One of them from down here is fine. So we'll click copy. This one, will go from that midpoint right there to this midpoint right here. And we got it located where we in the Y direction. But then we'll go ahead and click, we'll move this. We'll select this endpoint here as the base point, shift right click, and go to this perpendicular right here. So now that window's in place. And if I am correct, we got 2 more windows over here. So let's see if we can squeeze those in real quick. We'll just copy. We want to find where the midpoint of this is. So we'll just take these 2 windows here. We'll copy these 2 from that right there to the midpoint of this line right there, and we centered them up on there. So those are centered between that doorway, so that looks good. Alright, so let's go here. We're going to freeze the construction layer. We see what our floor plan looks like with the windows in it. Doors are in it. Oh, we're missing a door right here. So that's good that we did that. So let's go ahead and I'm going to try to make this relatively simple because I want to mirror this exact same door. So I'm going to mirror this door right here, and I actually want to mirror, oh yeah, that door. That's what I want, from this point right here over here to this one, and that one's in place. So now I'll click trim, use that one and this one, and right click, get rid of that one and that one. So now we can get into every single one of the rooms, into the garage, into the house there, into the house there. We've got all the doors. Looks like we have everything we need, and now we're ready to start worrying about dimensioning. We'll start that in the next video.